Okay, I'm over here on this job with my son again today, and the reason I'm here is that we have a policy that if people are working on more than two sets of scaffolding, you have to have one extra guy just hanging around on the ground to make sure that they don't have to climb up and down the scaffolding. See, the most dangerous part of scaffolding work is usually not when you're on the scaffolding working or on the ground getting ready. Usually the problems happen when you climb up and down. When you're climbing up and down the scaffolding, that's usually when something goes wrong. While you're on the scaffolding working, everything usually works right. So the guy on the ground, what he does a lot of times is if we're using a rope and a bucket, the guy on the scaffolding will lower the bucket and say, I need this or I need that. And then the guy on the ground puts it in the bucket. And basically, that way the people working on the scaffolding do not have to climb up and down. The other thing, of course, is just keeping an eye out for anything, looking around to make sure nothing looks like it's wobbling too much or too loose or whatever. And also just there in case something would go wrong, you have that one extra guy, to help out. So anyway, we call that position, we call that a deadhead. And it's not it's not a derogatory term, it's just a descriptive term, meaning the guy on the ground doesn't really have to know much. He doesn't have to know how to do the work that we're doing on top of the scaffolding or anything else. Mostly he just has to be kind of an attentive fella who can be told what to do and who can hand stuff up and can just kind of be there in case people need something. And also that third guy's real handy when you got to start tearing down the scaffolding and loading it in the trailer and everything like that. So anyway, the term deadhead is just a description of how simple that position is. Now, after 40 years of construction, I have been demoted today to deadhead. So right now I'm the deadhead. And you might say, well, what am I doing outside making this video? Well, I told them I needed to go get something out of the truck. And so, I don't believe in lying. So I went out and got something out of the truck. So I'm sort of on my route right now. I'm kind of on my way back from the truck into the house. So if you see my son, you don't really have to tell him this is what I went and got in the truck. But anyway, what I want to get at is that for years I was the guy on top of the scaffolding. I did all the tricky stuff. I did all the fancy stuff. I did everything that impressed people. And there was always a deadhead working at the bottom to help me out. Well, today I'm the deadhead down on the ground, and I'm looking up at several people working on those high scaffoldings, doing work I used to do, and every single one of them I trained. Every single one of those guys up on that scaffolding today started out pretty much knowing nothing. And today, they today pushed me out of the picture into the position of deadhead. And you know what? I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I have been pushed out of the I'm proud that I participated in the growth and the training and the skills of other people to the point that there was a day when they said to me, get off the scaffolding and go put the stuff we need in the bucket downstairs. That's life. By the time you get to be old like me, I hope you can look back over your life and you can see a handful of people that you trained who started out as deadheads that are now up on top of that scaffolding. And I hope that you can understand the joy you should have when those people you trained push you out of the picture, push you down to the floor, and give you that deadhead job because they don't need you on top anymore. Wasn't that the plan? Wasn't that the plan from the beginning? that we would train people to take our place. You know, I really am sitting here almost getting choked up just thinking about where these guys have come from and how they have worked hard and how they have been dedicated to helping us through the years. And now they're up there on that scaffolding doing the very things that we taught them to do, and they're doing a good job at it. And it doesn't hurt my feelings at all for them to tell me that I'm the deadhead now. Because you know what? I started out as a deadhead, and my plan was from the beginning that I would end up as a deadhead. The plan was to train people to take my place. I hope we all can think that way about our Christian discipleship, because we're not going to be here forever. In our Christian discipleship and in our witness and in what we teach and share and how we share the good news, you know what? We do that in such a way that people around us will become so strong that when we get worn out and we're weak and we're old, they can put us back on the floor and they can go to the top of the scaffolding and work. I'll see you in church Sunday.